Hello, everyone, and welcome to Westcast episode 10. Today we actually have a guest. Today we're joined by shoopfex. How's it going, man?
Hi, it's going well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing well. What'd you have for breakfast today?
Uh, Raisin bran, I think. It's always hard to remember what you had for breakfast.
Okay, how about lunch yesterday?
Oh, great. Already getting into the hard questions.
You gotta throw the
Oh,
curveball every
man.
once in a while.
Lunch yesterday. I think lunch yesterday was just my breakfast.
Oh
So
man,
it was like Rice Krispies. I don't think I actually had a real lunch yesterday.
at least you're getting the fiber, the raisin bran and the Rice Krispies.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm all about the healthy cereals that your mom and dad told you to eat.
Oh yeah, I think the healthy cereal tastes a lot better than the like Frosted Flakes and stuff, because that stuff I'm pretty sure is laced with cocaine or some shit.
Frosted Flakes. I
Yeah,
fucking love Frosted Flakes.
it's delicious.
It is.
It's like they made it just so kids could get addicted to it.
It's like it's magically delicious. The way that it's wrong cereal.
Man, Lucky Charms, watching those commercials growing up was like, it was, man, that was the cereal. They actually started selling the marshmallows on its own, eh?
Did they actually? What the fuck?
Yeah, you can get huge bags of that shit.
Where? I need to get that shit, man.
We need to get all the marshmallows melted down and injected in our veins.
That is incredible. I've never heard of that. That's so incredible.
Yeah, and
Just the marshmallows. It's genius.
in Ottawa, do you have like Red Lobster? Because like in here in Toronto, there are several Red Lobsters around here.
I've never been to Red Lobster, but I do think we have some.
Okay, because the biscuits are amazing, and I just wanted to make an announcement that they actually sell the biscuits on its own. So
All right. Are we sure we aren't sponsored by Red Lobster here?
they need to sponsor us. Red Lobster, Wendy's, Lucky Charms, Frosted Flakes, and all that good shit. So this is a mashup podcast. So yeah, where'd the name shoopfex come from?
Oh, okay. That's a long story. It goes back way, like, probably like 12 years ago. But basically, I was fucking addicted to Super Smash Brothers Melee,
You already know. Oh
and
man.
basically, I like admired all the pro players and whatnot. And my cousin was actually a pro player, so uh, like me and my other cousin would try to beat him. Like we'd tag team him, but like even on a team, we couldn't beat him. He was just that fucking good.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And like we were no slouches ourselves. But in any case, uh, being that I idolized all the like pro players and whatnot, I obviously played as Fox.
True, yeah.
Yeah, so Fox, no items, Final Destination.
Four stock.
That yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but basically, Fox has an attack where it's like it's he rushes to the side.
That's
And
forward
he
B.
like his forward B, yeah, yeah. His
Yeah.
his side B is I think it's called like I forget what it's called. It's like Fast Fox or something. Anyways, I digress. Basically, to me back then, it sounded like he was saying "shoop," like every time he'd use that attack in melee.
Yeah.
So, the first edition of the name was actually Shoot Fox for that reason.
hmm
And I had a YouTube account that was called Shoot Fox until I uploaded some like English project videos onto it, like from high school,
Oh yeah.
and they weren't getting many views. But I was like, oh man, this is embarrassing. I don't want to, like have this anymore. So I just deleted the account. But I was like, okay, well, I need a new YouTube account, so I'll just create a new one. So I did, but I was looking for a name, and I was like, oh, why not just use shoopfex? So I tried creating an account named shoopfex, but it was already taken, obviously, because I had used it before.
Right.
So I was, I decided to change a vowel up because I wasn't very original. And it couldn't be you for obvious reasons.
Damn. In an alternate universe, you could have been shoopfex. You could have been shoopfex, man. Oh, man. So what was wrong with shoopfex? Oh, is my computer crapping out? Hello? Hello?
Fuck, Discord broke.
Yeah, no worries.
Anyways, yeah, it would have been a very different channel had I gone by that name.
Shoopfex.
And shoopfex just sounded like like an appliance store, or like a hardware store. Shoopfex,
Yeah.
So I went with shoopfex.
I guess shoopfex is too much like a fax machine kind of thing, eh?
Yeah. It seemed like Staples or something. Very boring.
Yeah, but the name, I think at the end of it all, it turned out to be like a really cool name.
Kind of. I mean, it was like the X was like what all the producers were doing, like Skrillex and Claypex and
Oh man,
any other X's. But
I haven't heard Claypex in 5 years, like easily. Man, that's a throwback right there. Claypex, damn.
Yeah, about Claypex, I haven't really heard their stuff in a really long time either. But like I heard one of their songs, and it sounded like exactly like one of the songs I had made like in one of my early days.
Really?
And I didn't have a following then or anything, but like I was listening to one of their songs, and like, wow, this sounds really like similar. Like I'm not saying they were plagiarizing or anything. I'm just saying that obviously I wouldn't say they're plagiarizing. I'm like
there's some sort of overlap, right?
But I was like, yeah, like similar, like I don't know, inspiration, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
It was really cool to me because it's like that song sounded like the song I had made then, but if it was good.
Oh, that's really cool actually.
Yeah.
It's neat, doing something like in isolation, and then seeing someone else have their own kind of take, but like has like a different feel.
Yeah,
of it,
yeah,
so.
Yeah.
So I was going through your old like Pico songs and stuff, and your really old work is like reminiscent of like Deadmau5 and stuff, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I was huge inspired by Deadmau5 then. Nowadays not so much, but back then Deadmau5 was definitely my favorite producer.
His stuff was really it was really chill. I like this stuff. Yeah, did you
I haven't listened to much of his latest stuff, but yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was definitely like his music was like high school bangers,
Yeah, totally. I remember listening to Deadmau5 in like computer programming class in high school, and like it brings back good memories.
Yeah, good times. I think like I had friends that like bought the album and then would play it all the time. It's good stuff. So any other musical artists that like inspired you?
Let's name the most obvious one here, Madian.
Yep.
Yeah. Funny story about that. I guess like in like 2013 or whatever, I wanted to start showing off my stuff, but to me it seemed like very, very, very crappy, very amateurish in 2013, way back then. And I was like, gee, how can I show off like stuff that I'm doing like in my mashups? So I started listening to Madian a little more, and he does amazing stuff with vocals.
Oh yeah.
Like some crazy shit. Like I was like, yeah, this is it. This is what I have to do.
Hmm.
And so that's where that whole Madian obsession came from, because to me it was like, I can make a mashup with just like, Hotel California and Nichijou and just play them side by side, or I could, like do stuff with the vocals and, you know, show off some stuff that I've show off uh, some more of my production techniques, I guess.
Yeah, like I've been following your works for a really, really, really friggin' long time, and I noticed that it was around when you had the Dango Dead Mouse mashup when you started doing like panning and you started doing like delays and stuff. And I think that within its that time frame, everyone else was still doing like the Space Jam song one plus song two kind of format, but you kind of like took it to that step further.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna knock those people because I fucking love doing stuff with Space Jam. That was another thing that I loved was
Oh yeah, I
mixing up the
listened.
vocals in Space Jam.
Yeah, I listened to your Through the Fire and Flames Space Jam one all the way through, just out of sheer curiosity.
That one was interesting because there's like 3 points in that song where the tempo changes,
Right.
and I don't think like before, for some reason, this had been like an untapped frontier, like Fire in the Flames Space Jam mashup. And I think that's why, because nobody wanted to like try and figure out why the fuck like the tempo shifted and why it would suddenly get out of sync like halfway through the song.
Right.
But I mean, Fire and Flames was such a big song back when like Guitar Hero was Guitar Hero 3 came out.
Oh
That
yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
it seemed like baffling to me that there was no Through the Fire and the Flames Space Jam mashup yet.
I think
So
it's
I had
not.
to make it.
Yeah, I think it's not only the tempo shift. I think it's the fact that it's like what, like a 7-8 minute song or something like that.
I mean that too. It's probably I think it's the longest Space Jam mashup on my channel. I think it might be the longest video on my channel.
Huh.
I can't remember.
Yeah, that's really interesting, man. I remember having my friend hold down the green button and then like just to get through the intro of Through the Fire and Flames. And then my friend's like, "Yo, I got an idea. Let's use a rubber band." And then that didn't work either. And it's like, "Okay, I'll try strumming with my elbow and then hitting the first red and shit." And then that was, man, those are the days. So yeah, you came from like a this really like this kind of history of when like mashups were, I don't know, like anime mashups and like the niche kind of mashups that we participate in now. Like when that was on the rise. Who did you like used to listen to back then?
Naki Naiko, Gardakuno, Come On Slam, Triple Q. Oh, I can't forget his name. It's Bees. I need to mention It's Bees because
I love that guy. His stuff is
he's
great.
he's fantastic. He's a fantastic guy and makes some great mashups. And um, like the first time I made platinum level circulation. Well, I guess the only time I made it. But
Yeah.
when I made it, I was looking for a video to like make it a response as, like, how you can post video responses.
Oh man, yeah, the old stuff, yeah. Oh
Well,
man,
so originally I tried making it a response to I forget what the name is. It's Naki Naiko's Platinum Disco Breakbot
yep, I know that one. Yep.
mashup.
Hmm.
Yeah, I tried making it a response to that one, and for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe I was just impatient or whatever, but like I forget, but it wasn't accepted as a response right away,
Hmm.
and so I was like, okay, I'll make it a response to It's Bees, Everybody's Platinum Disco,
Right.
and like as soon as I made it a response to that video and he accepted, or I think you had to accept video responses, then you can just post it and then. But anyways, I posted as a response, and that's when it started gaining momentum. Like if its bees did not accept that video response, then it'd be a very different world, I guess.
Yeah.
World for me, because I don't know, it wouldn't have gotten so successful, and I would have stopped making EDM mashups potentially.
Mm-hmm.
You know, It's Bees is great guy. I played some Rocket League with him too. He's great at Rocket League.
Mm.
So yeah, everybody who's listening to this should really go check out It's Bees.
Yeah, and there's a shitload of E's in the B's part of it, so just
There's
keep.
six.
There's 6 E's.
6 E's, I think.
Okay. Yeah, he's also on Twitter. I don't think he makes that many mashups anymore. I think the last time I heard from him was when he was like uploading gameplay videos or something.
No, he doesn't make that many mashups anymore.
Yeah, that's a shame. I really liked his stuff.
He was really old school though. He always uses Audacity to make his mashups.
Oh yeah, the classic. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the classics.
Yeah, It's Bees. Yeah, it's great. And it's really interesting how it's like every upload that you've done, you know, it's kind of like taken off, and you know it reaches out to a lot of people, you know, whether it's like hearing it being played in public, or you know, people like paying tribute to it. I recall in Slice the Snake, like that was like no one had ever thought of using Mosu Express like that. That was incredible. I think that was like game changing.
Yeah, I don't you know, I don't like to toot my own horn, but that's what I'm talking about when I said like I was really attracted to the way he does like vocals and stuff and vocal chops, and I just really needed to do something with that.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is that mashup is that it actually started as a Eric Pride's piano. I don't know how to pronounce it. Like
yeah, the Pajanu, yeah.
It actually started as a mashup of that track.
Fascinating.
And you'll actually notice that the tempo is a bit higher than the original Cut the Kid.
Yep.
And that's why. It's because it started as a piano mashup, which is I think like I think it's 120 beats per minute. I could be wrong, but I think Cut the Kid's only like 100 and it's like 107 or something. I don't know. It's not much higher than 100, but the tempo in Slice the Snake is a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, I always wondered why that was like slightly higher, because I'm like, oh, you're trying to get best copyright or something, or?
No, that's actually just a fuck up. Just because I made it as a different mashup entirely, and then it, like by the time I had already finished it, I was like, I left it on 120 beats per minute. This is well, better upload it.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't even the vocal chopping and screwing that made a lot of people remember. It was how you pitch the vocals into like a completely like original, you know, so that it's like nicely in key, and you got the harmonizing vocals and all that. Was that done in like Newtone or Melodyne?
Melodyne.
Is Melodyne like better than Newtone for that kind of stuff?
So I mean, I haven't used Newtone enough to say much on it, but Melodyne has polyphonic. Polyphonic editing, so you can go ahead and edit individual notes in like a polyphonic track. And that came in handy for parts of the song where there was like harmonies and stuff.
Fascinating.
So it was a lot easier to pitch it to the key of the song that way.
That's really cool. Have you ever heard Triple Q's take on Cut the Kid?
I have, actually. Yes, I have.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was like directly inspired by Slice the Snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like
That
he comments on it as like, oh man, this is amazing, and then he goes and uploads that thing.
that was a very interesting take on Cut the Kid, and I was very flattered when he uploaded that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very okay. Okay, here's the funny thing about that mashup is that when he throws Planet Wisp in there,
Oh yeah.
like in like the part where it goes on to the next drop,
Yep.
uh, like I cannot stop hearing Planet Wisp whenever I listen to Cut the Kid now.
Man, that's unfortunate. And I'm kidding. No, that's really interesting that you said that. It's kind of neat how listening to certain songs kind of builds your listening to certain mashups kind of builds a perception, like how you perceive the original song.
Yeah, totally. That's why I love mashups.
Like Shiny Shuriken, Platinum Level Circulation, like those are all like in my head. My parents teach a dance class, and they actually used Platinum Level Circulation as yeah for the choreography.
No.
It was through my dad that I discovered Triple Q.
Oh my, what?
So I was listening. I was for the longest time I was listening to you, Botanic, and Naki Nico, or however you pronounce their names, and yeah, they're just like, oh yeah, we really like that one song that you played out of your speaker. So like, yeah, we're gonna together a choreography for it. So
That's incredible. That's amazing. Tell your parents I said thanks.
yeah, we'll do. So yeah, like I noticed that you've been like changing your channel description every now and then. That's like, oh yeah, like weeaboo mashups, and then it's like, oh, music related ideas and stuff like that. And I'm wondering like, what's the thought process behind that?
Thought process behind that is that I'm trying to shift my focus. As much as I love mashups, I have been struggling this for several years, but I always think that they're really holding me back.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's only so much you can do with a song that's already been produced. So essentially, the idea behind changing that up, like you said, is that I don't want it to be misleading.
Mm-hmm.
And I still get a lot of people on the video I recently released. Some people saying it's a good mashup, and like I appreciate the comments and the feedback and stuff, but
someone called Awakening a mashup.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. I mean, it's kind of like vague, because it did start off as a mashup,
Yeah.
But I just don't want people getting confused to think that the tracks that I'm going to be that I'm releasing now and will be releasing in the future are going to be mashups, because more than likely they will not be. They will probably, most likely, most tracks I'll be releasing in the future will be entirely produced by me.
That's incredible. Interesting that you said that mashups were like holding you back. I think that because you had this kind of mindset from the start of wanting to do more with the source material that you're using, I think that's what took your works and for me at least, took it a step further than what I was hearing out there. Interestingly, it's always a funny topic when we talk about like how often you upload and stuff. And I was wondering, because I understand from our like conversations in the past that you're as much a perfectionist as a procrastinator. So I'm wondering like, what do you determine as being like upload worthy? It's kind of a long run on question, but like, what makes something upload worthy for the main channel?
Something that doesn't sound like it was made by me. Basically, it's ironic because here I am uploading everybody else's different tracks, and I mean manipulating them in some way, but essentially it comes down to them being other people's tracks.
Yep.
And even when it comes to my own work, I don't want to upload something that sounds like I made it.
It's fascinating.
Like,
I've never heard that approach before. That's fascinating.
I'm not trying to be fascinating. I'm just telling the truth.
Yeah,
I think of my work as like entirely amateurish. I really hate like 95% of what I make, which is part of why I upload so rarely.
Mm.
But recently, I've been coming into the mindset that I feel like I am where I need to be right now, and that like it still sounds like my work, but it like I guess the mindset has changed, being like, yeah, it's my work, so what?
Mm-hmm. It being completely original.
Yes, that's right.
That's great. I'm just asking out of curiosity, what's that sexual moaning sample in Awakening?
Oh, yeah. Interesting story behind that. I mean, there's an interesting story about pretty much everything, but so that sample was I really should send you the sound files for that, because it started not at all like that. That's a heavily, I can't reiterate how much heavily altered sample of Diva from Overwatch saying "Op Op Gangnam Style."
Are you serious? No, that what? Are you shitting me?
I'm serious. I say that to you with 100% certainty.
What the fuck? What the hell?
2 years ago, Triple Q uploaded that sound file on his Twitter.
Yep.
And so I was just like, okay, well, I need a vocal sample here, and it needs to sound like an anime girl.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess this is close enough, and I'll just work with it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because I noticed, like, you chopped and like pitched it, and then you did a whole lot of effects to that, like that. I'm like, that's one of the parts that I like really remember for some reason.
I'll see if I have the original project where I altered that sample, because the transfer, like, it only uses the actual like last quarter of the sample, but yeah, that's Diva.
Fascinating. I noticed that another one of the reasons why I really appreciate your mashups is because they're so friggin' hard to recreate. Like, if anyone were to attempt to recreate it, they would notice that it doesn't sound anything alike, and then when they dig deeper into it, they notice that there's all of these levels of complexity that that not a lot of people within the mashup community are exposed to. Which brings me to my next question. For your puzzle, you mentioned how for the vocal chops you used different acapellas for that, and I noticed that you made the vowels like identical as well. So I was wondering, like, what other songs from Roundtable did you use for that?
What do you mean identical? First of all,
like the vowels like ah, e, u, and that kind of stuff when you're like pitching it, right?
Oh yeah, you mean I made them identical to Kian in in Euron.
Yeah.
So for that, I used I only used samples from I think it was Groove and Magic, and obviously Puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I just pitched them in Melodyne pretty much.
Huh. I'm curious. Do you do your chopping in FL, then bring it to Melodyne, or do you do it all in Melodyne?
I use the VST version of Melodyne in FL Studio.
Oh, I see. Okay. I should get that. That's cool.
It's very useful. I fucking love Melodyne. Like, I cannot reiterate how amazing it is. Like, Like, I mean, you're uttering complete shock at that sample in Awakening. Just is the magic of Melodyne, really.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, let me try, because I like to experiment and stuff, right? So I took this moan from like this hentai and I tried to like emulate that. I wanted to see like what it took to get it to that point. Um, but yeah, that shit is hard to recreate. I'm wondering, okay, for the state of your channel, it's kind of funny because you have some videos that are like unknown to the masses. Like you have this JoJo All Star mashup that's unlisted.
Oh yeah, yeah,
How the hell does HBJ know about this? It's okay, I have my sources.
yeah.
And I'm
I am kind of wondering that, to be honest.
yo, don't worry about that. So like, what makes you take down certain uploads?
Uh, okay, this is a tough question.
I'm just gonna add another layer on top of that. The Watamote mashup for you. I was wondering
Yes.
like why didn't that make the main channel? So
That didn't make the cut because I just didn't like it as much as my other mashups. During that period, I was going through well, okay, I can't say that during that period because basically during through like every period between videos, I just like hate everything I was making until I stumbled upon Slice the Snake, really, and then I liked it and I was like, okay, I'll upload it.
hmm So it's more of like a gut feeling kind of thing.
Basically a gut feeling, but I'll tell you one thing that did influence it in not being uploaded to my YouTube. That being that the vocals in it were very terribly isolated.
Hmm.
It was very hard to get a clean a cappella of that song, and in the end, I don't believe I accomplished that in the right way. So I did not upload it.
Huh. Was this when you were still isolating vocals in Audition, or was this when you were using like Udigo and stuff?
Oh, I never used Udigo.
Really?
No, I've never used that software.
Huh.
I
Fascinating.
used Audacity. I used to use Audacity, but then I started using Audition. I might have used Audacity for that one. I don't know.
Hmm. That's really neat. So why was the JoJo All Star mashup unlisted?
Because I thought it was too memey, and I didn't like the points where it got dissonant.
hmm
That's basically it. I just didn't like it. Also, it's got a pretty bad like to dislike ratio.
Oh, what do you determine as being like a good ratio? Like, what do you? Because I have my own mental like like what determines like a good mashup, like retention and the like to dislike ratio. So I'm wondering like what's your kind of cutoff point?
Uh, like it's cut off. Like okay. It's not just that. Like ultimately, when I released Hotel Nichifornia, it had a really terrible ratio to begin with.
Really?
It's basically whether or not I liked it, and I basically looked back on it, and I was looking at the dislikes. I was like, "Gee, this many people think it's shit," and then I really listened to it, and I was like, "This is shit." I mean, it was just capitalizing on a meme that was pretty much already half dead by the time I contributed to it.
Hmm. So it's all about gut feeling for you when it's like, okay, this is what's good, this is what's not good, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and other videos that I've unlisted, I usually put them back. For example, I think I unlisted Be My Slam for a while.
That was a
And
good
the
one. I
reason-
like that one.
Yeah, I really like that mashup too, but like I was putting my YouTube on my resume when I was looking for jobs. I was like, maybe I shouldn't have like naked anime girls on my
You had your
YouTube page.
you had your YouTube as your wow. That's really
Yeah, why not? I mean, it did get me a job.
Huh. Was this the graphic design job, or was this something else?
Yeah, it was a graphic design job.
Hmm. Yeah.
So basically, I was like, I better not have this on my channel for the time being. So I just unlisted it.
You can't have Senna's tits on the as a thumbnail,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's right. So then after that, I was like, all right, bring back the titties.
One of the uh, what I really appreciate about what you do for thumbnails and what you do for your artwork is that it pays so much respect to the original source material, and that's because like you're familiar with graphic design, right? So
Somewhat. I consider myself still an amateur.
yeah, but you know your way around Photoshop, you know your way around video editing, and like composition and the
Yeah.
fundamentals of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like for my works personally, I drew a huge inspiration for how you handled your thumbnails, and I just um because it's kind of funny because some people have come to me and they're like, hey, I like your thumbnails because it's similar to like the album art, and then I always think back like this came straight from you actually. So um yeah, thanks. Your work is well, to me at least, and to a lot of people, it's I'd say it's very inspirational. So thank you
Thank
for
you very much.
yeah, thanks for all your works, man.
Thank you. Thank you. With regards to making it look very similar to the source material, that was just a side effect of having to chop the vocals and make them sound like the original song.
Hmm.
So I was just like, maybe the art should reflect that.
That's a fantastic approach. Because I look at a lot of the there are people that make pop mashups, and there are people that make the niche kind of mashups that you and I kind of make, and to see people having this heavy-handed approach to not just the mashup but to the artwork itself, it adds this extra layer of like conversation that just makes it so much richer and so much more, I don't know, maybe personable, if that's the word. I don't know.
It makes it like an appreciation of culture in both sound and visuals.
Yeah, I agree. That's like that's a perfect way of saying it. So for the future direction of your channel, I've been keeping up with your Twitter, and you had this Grand Theft Order fate fates thing. I was wondering like what's up with that.
So I've been really, really addicted to Fate Grand Order recently, and I fucking love the music in that game. It's so great. I love it.
Is
Like
that
every bit of it.
a phone game?
It is a phone game,
Oh.
and I could only play it till recently because up until recently, I had a really, really shitty phone.
Hmm.
But I mean, I liked it, but it was shitty, and it started breaking on me. So I got a new one, and then I could finally play Fate Go, and I was like, I was like wondering what the big deal was, and then I started playing it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what the big deal is.
Hmm.
And so, with regards to what I post on my channel, that's going to be something that is uploaded next. It's going to be my next upload, and it's basically going to be it's going to be similar to Awakening in the fact that it's an originally produced remix,
Hmm.
and it's going to be. I hope it's going to be quite a journey for everybody. I'm pretty confident about it. I think it's better than Awakening, which is
Wow.
which
Okay.
kind of makes me feel bad because I spent so damn long on Awakening, and then I spent like a week on this mashup on this production, and I was like, okay, this why did I spend so long on that?
Well, it's all of you've developed all you've developed the craft, and then making the product then becomes a little more you know
That's right.
yeah.
that's the important stuff. Is that I finish what I'm doing, and then the next time I'll be able to do it faster and better.
Hmm.
But to me, it just seems like like I just spent way too long on my last video, like way too long.
That's like what, a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It was well worth the wait, honestly.
Uh,
I play that like frequently, like every day, every other day. It's always just sitting back and listening to. Oh man, yeah.
Thank you very much. And it 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 do not know how much like I appreciate even I think for the meantime it's going to remain rather niche upload. I don't think it's going to get to the popularity that platinum level circulation did, but
Mm.
even those small amount of people, that relatively small amount of people that listen to it, I really just love it uh, when they experience it, and they go through the exact same emotions I was when I was producing it.
Hmm.
So I mean, it like views are nice and all, but I really just loved having people write such nice things to me about like how good it is or whatever. And even though I might not necessarily agree, I really um, it helps knowing that people have appreciated it.
Yeah, and how these people came from your mashups. I think it's just the appreciation of music that brings them to, even if it's like 10K and it doesn't hold a torch to the view count of your other uploads. I still think that those who observed it and listened to it, I think it made the largest impact. And even though I didn't see a lot of comments regarding like the quality or any sort of feedback or criticism or any of that stuff, I think that them acknowledging, oh hey, Shoop is back. I think that just it's the feeling that you created through the sound. So I think that.
Yeah, and I've come to accept that there's like, no matter, even if I upload a video tomorrow, there's still going to be the same type of comments, and you know, being like, oh,
He's back.
Mighty Shoop returns, and I mean, every YouTuber gets it, so I can't really complain about it, and I really do appreciate positive comments, and I even appreciate negative comments from time to time, because they show me how to improve my craft.
Yeah. When you said you wanted like criticism or feedback on that, I really tried to find like a hole in that to like say like, oh, maybe you could have done this better. But to this day, I still can't poke a hole through it. I don't have the producer mindset, but yeah.
I can think of so many things I would have changed about that mashup. Or I keep calling it a mashup now. I was like, people are calling it a mashup. I don't want them to call it a mashup.
Wait, shit! Did I just call it a mashup?
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
I called it a mashup. I was like, but what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I could find so many things in that remix that I could do so much better. In like now, even just like a month later.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just kind of taking it all in right now. Just yeah, when people are like, "Oh, you're back," it's funny because when Naki Nico was uploading regularly, like several times a month, he did still get that comment. So I guess on your end, that's something that you'll have to get used to for every upload. You'll just be like, "Oh, he's back."
It's just something that's sort of universal, and the only way I could have prevented it would be of like, if I had like uploaded once a week from the day I started.
Mm. But I think that when you like oversaturate, what's being uploaded, people like lose interest.
Yeah. But if you don't, then you get people saying, where is he? He's been gone for so long, even though it's only been like 2 months, 2 or 3 months or
Yeah.
something. And I mean, 2 years is a bit excessive, but even if like even if I upload like once a month from now on, I think you're right. I'd still get the same sort of thing,
Yeah.
just because it's sort of become the norm.
hmm I think that the mindset where quality triumphs over quantity, I think that's such a huge aspect, that because the way I see it is that getting people to listen to like your original or your mashup is as much a psychological game as it is a like a scheduling game. Like to to have your to upload like once a month, people like they drop everything and then they go straight into it because they know that, oh, this person doesn't upload frequently. But the fact that it was such a long wait, and then you came back with your Awakening remix, I think it was a treat for everyone. So
Thank
we're
you.
really
Appreciate.
everyone is excited because, okay, real talk, this podcast is it's a shitty podcast. It's not this episode, but like what we have built prior to this, like it's a shit show. But you know, thanks for coming on this episode and giving your so we can have this wonderful discussion.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Oh, actually, a few more things I want to cover. So I heard you've developed like this interest for like art and writing, or like more so now than ever. So I'm wondering, will that kind of make its way into your uploads?
Uh, Probably not.
Hmm.
Those have been. I've I've always been really into art for a very long time. I've always been, a fan of like artistic stuff rather than practical stuff.
Hmm.
So ultimately, getting into art and writing isn't something I'm realistically going to do. I of course will continue with the music because it makes it makes my fucking life. I love music and I never want to stop. But to get into art and writing in a more dedicated fashion would probably not be the best decision.
hmm
Uh, yeah, I just really want to focus on music right now.
Oh yeah.
But it's nice to fantasize about uh, being being like well, that was one of my great fantasies growing up, was to be like a writer.
hmm
um I don't know, I guess I was just a lazy kid who wanted to stay inside all day, but I it's just the idea of being able to make somebody feel the same emotions that you did when you're creating the art, that really it really speaks to me.
hmm
But no, I don't think art and writing will venture its way into my work unless it's like in a graphic design sense.
hmm I see. One last topic before we close the podcast. Can we just talk about how good Mushishi is?
Mushishi is pretty good.
It's
It's been
excellent.
years since I've seen it though, so I recognize it's good, and it's fucking fantastic. It's actually the only anime on my anime list that I've given a 10.
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe I gave Fooly Cooly a 10, but
You gave another
Mushishi
thing a 10, but
is very good, and I recommend anybody to watch it. It's Well, okay, maybe not everybody, because it's ultimately it's kind of slow paced.
yeah. But the stories they build in every episode is just
Yeah, it's
so
really
rich.
captivating how consistently they can make you feel those powerful emotions. Like this was just what I'm talking about. Like you really feel like what the artists were, the artists and the writers and all of them were going for with those, each story.
Oh yeah, totally. And how each one is like unique. And I
Yeah.
think that ultimately the fact that you're changing your direction to things that are more original rather than having mashups kind of, dictate what the channel is doing. I think that doing your originals is a more kind of like, how should I say this? It's like a more intimate connection between you and the listener. So I think that having that appreciation of that connection, having it manifest in your works now and the works to come, I think that's going to be a wonderful point to move on.
I totally agree, and I hope that I talked about breaking away from mashups earlier, about feeling how they were sort of holding me back in a way.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally the effect I'm going for, is to try and make my feelings come through rather than necessarily another artist's.
Another like, so that it's your vision rather than
Yes,
someone
that's
else's
right.
vision.
Right. Sometimes an artist's vision will completely align with mine, and that's when I make a really great mashup.
Mm-hmm. But now all there is you and the open road. So, all the power
That's
to
right.
you. Okay, thank you for being on episode 10 of Westcast. This is the first time we're actually having a legitimate podcast about important things rather than what we had for breakfast. So thank you,
Although we
shoopfex.
started out on that.
Yeah, well, thanks for being with us today. And even though this podcast is only going to get like 30 views, I'm pretty sure the 30 of us will fully appreciate your time.
Oh yeah. I hope so. Thanks for inviting me, and it was very. It helped me realize something about myself while talking about it out loud. So
That's
hopefully,
great.
this will turn out to be a good 30 views.
It's going to be an excellent 30 views. Yeah. By the way, I can't thank you enough for this, but a long time ago on SoundCloud, I posted a draft of a Chunibyo mashup with Midnight City by M83.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
The fact that you liked it, because I sat on that mashup for 6 months, the fact that you hit like on that one, that's what actually motivated me to complete it. Even though I look back at it, it's like, man, that was shit. Thanks for enabling me to upload that. So I just wanted to get that off my chest.
You're welcome. It was a great mashup.
Thanks. Okay, all right, that's it. So thanks for everything. Take care, man. Have a good night.
No problem. You too.
Okay, see ya.